Cars in general have become more reliable over the years. Yet there are some models that just seem to keep rolling along, whistling past the junkyard. Pinpointing exactly how many miles, on average, any given model has racked up is virtually impossible. But we've identified these cars with exceptional, sometimes surprising, endurance and value. We bet you've seen one of these still cruising the highway recently. Oh, and if you're wondering where your beloved Ford F-150 or other truck is, note that we skipped traditional trucks altogether. Trucks are supposed to last forever. Honda Accord. Next time you're out for a spin, watch for a nondescript, tan or silver 4-door. Good chance it's a Honda Accord. Combine reliability and best-selling status, a true virtuous cycle, and you get ubiquity. Exactly what it is about Honda that provides such durability is the subject of much debate, and much corporate envy/espionage involving Honda's design and manufacturing processes. But surely some of it has to do with the fact that Honda Motor Company puts its engines and engineering first. Look up Honda Accord in Consumer Reports ratings and you will see a sea of red dots that indicate owners have darn few problems with these cars. The smaller Honda Civic shares much of the quality but is more likely to be modified by its owners to look flashier and run louder, with maintenance simultaneously neglected. So the Accord gets our nod. Buick Roadmaster Estate. Behold the last of the big American station wagons. This General Motors behemoth offers an appealing combination of reliable, modern-ish technology and retro looks. In the later years of its production, the Roadmaster was armed with a honking 5.7-liter V8 closely related to the Chevy Corvettes to move all that mass. Rear-facing third-row seats, wood paneling on the sides, shifter on the steering column, all the elements of the great American wagon are there. You can even squeeze a third passenger up front if the ruckus in back gets too loud. Cheap to insure, says Kevin Cullinane of Bethesda, MD, who has owned two of these big boys as well as a lot of other older American iron, and parts are cheap and plentiful. With a gentle foot on the gas, Cullinane gets 17 miles per gallon in town, and 23 to 24 miles per gallon on the highway. Quite a feat for a car this weight and size, he says. The wagons seem to have outlasted their mechanically identical sedan brethren, such as the bulbous Chevy Caprice that was a fixture of police and taxi fleets in the 1990s. Lower-stress suburban living may be the reason. Closely related but scarcer, the Chevy Impala wagon and Oldsmobile custom cruiser. Geo Prism. The Geo Prism is one of a number of vehicles that have at their core one of the most reliable cars ever, the Toyota Corolla. But while the Corolla's longevity goes unremarked, the Prism and its stablemates cause head scratching as they soldier on into their second or even third decade. What is that thing? How is it still running? This Corolla clone, marketed as a Chevrolet at one point, also appeared as the Chevy Nova, 1984 to 1988, and the Pontiac Vibe, 2002 to 2010. All of these cars were the product of a Toyota GM joint venture called NUMMI, a Fremont, California factory that built nearly 8 million vehicles of Toyota's basic design before it closed down in 2010. These were the first Toyotas assembled in the U.S., and the story of how this location's jaded United Auto Workers workforce learned the Toyota way and turned out cars just as good as the ones built in Japan is a fascinating one. These cars get highway mileage in the 35 miles per gallon range, which has made them old gold when gas prices are high. A shrewd shopper looking for a used Corolla might consider one of these instead. The seller might not realize what he's letting go. VW van. The VW van, which creates instant counterculture nostalgia for baby boomers, keeps finding new generations of fans. Just look at the comic strip Zids, whose 16-year-old protagonist drives one. A combination of sheer devotion from its fans and a deep reserve of used parts, thanks in part to its sharing many components with VW Beetles, keeps the VW van going and going. Many are sun-faded and seem to rely on bumper stickers and duct tape to hold them together, but some VW vans actually attract serious collector money. The 23-window models of the 1950s can fetch six figures. And the handful of later model vans that were equipped with all-wheel drive have a committed following in the Mountain West ski towns. But teenagers, or their parents, looking to grab one of these on the cheap can still do so with a little hunting. A lot of people kept them around, even when they moved on to something else, says Everett Barnes, creator of the website The Samba, a key resource for owners of older VWs. Very often, a backyard find just needs a fresh battery to start up, Barnes says, and getting it roadworthy may cost a relatively modest $500 to $2,000. Volvo's secret? It basically built one car for decades under a variety of model names. In its staid Swedish way, the carmaker eschewed fashion and focused instead on quality and safety. About the only thing that will kill off a Volvo is rust, says Mark Bredesen, the owner of Herndon, Virginia, import repair shop Autoscandia, who's been working on Volvos since 1978, and the later models largely conquered that problem with galvanized steel. After a first round as the family truckster, these cars often devolve to being the kids' college vehicles, and sleeping quarters at jam band shows.
Volvo has earned much press for longevity thanks to Irv Gordon, of Patchogue, N.Y., whose 1966 P1800, a sporty model seen on the introductory page of this slideshow, has more than 3 million miles, putting it in the Guinness Book of World Records as the car with the most mileage.
Saab 900. Let's just get this out of the way, the Saab 900 may be the Volvo 240 Swedish cousin, but it doesn't share its inherent reliability or simplicity of design. Weak transmissions are among the problems with the 900, says import expert Bredesen. That said, this other Scandinavian has its own cult-like following that keeps a good number on the road, particularly in New England and Colorado, where the front-wheel drive Saabs were popular for their great handling in snow, back before all-wheel drive became a common feature. We do see a lot of them through the shop, says Chris Campbell, a technician at Swedish Solution, in Westbrook, Maine. Their owners are pretty fanatical about their cars. We have one who drives her 1983 900 Turbo across the country twice each year, and the last time we did service on her car, a routine brake job, her car had over 435,000 miles and was still running like a top. The Wisconsin Automotive Museum near Milwaukee features a 1989 Saab 900 SPG that was driven more than 1 million miles before being donated. The irony, of course, is that some of these cars have outlived Saab itself. These 900s were the last models designed by the car manufacturer before it was bought by GM, which in turn unloaded the brand in 2010 as part of its bankruptcy recovery. Saab as we knew it died shortly thereafter. Subaru Wagons. The toughness of Subarus, with their standard all-wheel drive, sometimes gets conflated with reliability, but they're not the same thing. Just ask the many owners who had cylinder head gasket failures. Nonetheless, many keep on trucking, particularly for owners involved in higher education. Have a look in the parking lots of colleges and universities in the Northeast and Pacific Northwest, where they serve as the transportation of both professors and students. The only way to tell whose is by the bumper and window stickers. While Consumer Reports lists the 2005 Impreza wagon as a best buy for under $10,000, it also notes some model years of the Outback and Legacy as cars to avoid. Caveat emptor. If you enjoyed this video, kindly press the like button. Also don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, so that you don't miss out on videos like this. Thank you for watching.